The following presentation is part of the Beyond the Blast Doors network.
Welcome to the Bombadcast. What is up, Bombad fam? This is your boy Jerry, the would die for Omega. I won't call myself a junkie or whatever. So many fatherly feelings. Guys. Welcome to the Bombadcast. I am, again, the Canon Junkie. And you know what, guys? We are a proud member of the Beyond the Blast Doors network. Beyond the Blast Doors, we've got shows for every taste. We've got the Holo Chronicles with Josh and Andy talking collectibles. We've got Beyond the Blast Doors Live with Scotty and our good friend, Mr. Oh my gosh. Man, I need to just, oh my gosh. David, that's the one, the guy who wears no sleeves. Right, the guy without sleeves. I don't know, brain fart, guys. It's been a long week. But yeah, come see them shoot the shit. And then Bombadcast is just me and Scotty doing this, ridiculousness. But you know what? You can find us all on the Beyond the Blast Doors website, beyondtheblastdoors.com. If you like us, if you like what we're doing at Beyond the Blast Doors network, become a patron, and pay me to forget more people's names. It happens. My brain is stupid. But anyway, guys, for as little as $5 a month, you too, can pay for my CAT scan to make sure that I am not losing it. Okay, $5 a month. You can pay for my CAT scan. And before I continue, I'm gonna bring in my emergency contact, Mr. Scotty Jero. Scotty, how you doing, buddy?
Okay, there's so many things I love about this, in particular the fact that I'm your emergency contact. I mean, I don't know how useful I am being that we live so far away from each other, so I don't know
I just want someone to know. Want someone to know. That's it. That's all I want.
The only thing that I need to get a CAT scan for is whatever this art I make is. I know I need to get a CAT scan for that.
I think you need a CAT scan just because you call it art.
I don't know. It's you can interpret this in many different ways.
What? Okay, why is that a paramedic?
That's Joe Exotic when he says, "I'm going to be financially ruined because of this."
Okay, I couldn't tell because you couldn't see all the hair, and
we've got
I couldn't see the mullet.
50-eyed Surprise or whatever the guy's name is. I don't know, but I can tell you this much: we got a great guest lined up, and it's not.
Oh my goodness,
he does support the Bombadcast.
We've got a guest. I wouldn't even call. She's almost not even a guest. She's just a friend. We have a friend. Oh, wow. Look at this. This is fantastic.
So nice. We're going to see if we can make this work. But this is a former co-host of mine, wonderful friend on the Beyond the Blast Doors network, our girl, and someone that we love to go to for some really awesome takes. And that is Arezou Amin. Arezou, I'm bringing you in. What's going on, Arezou?
Arezou! Hi, guys.
First time on
so
Bombad.
Good to have you here.
I'm so happy to be here.
It's wild. How crazy is that?
Yeah. I wanted to come in with a hello boyos, and then I couldn't remember what the exact quote was. So I'm just not going to do it, but
hello boyos. I know it's okay. I forgot David's name. No worries.
Yeah.
The bar.
I should have known that it's fine to forget things after that. I'm in the green room going, David! His name's David!
David, if you watch, I love you, man. I'm sorry. It's not you, it's the brain. Sometimes the hamster falls asleep at the wheel. That's what we'll say. There you go. Sure. There you go. Sure. The hamster could be dead in the wheel as well. So
this has been a really big week for everyone here in terms of, of what we got. I want to say one thing. It's nice to have new Star Wars again. Not that the break between Mando in this was a bad break by any means. We got High Republic stuff, which was fantastic. We've gotten a bunch of really interesting comics too, and obviously we got some Andor pictures, which it's been a lot. I will say that, but in particular, this Tuesday morning was just like splendid. It was just great. It was just nice to wake up. And the one thing that surprised me the most, I want to start off with this: how cool was that animated like? Where they showed all the helmets and the heads moving by with the lights and everything.
Oh man, I was trying to pinpoint the fanfare you were doing.
But that's the new Disney Plus.
Oh, I love the Maggie Simpson one. Yes, yeah. I love that one. Oh, not that one? Oh, okay.
It took me forever. It took me like a few hours to realize that they changed the Disney Plus intro depending on what the program is.
Yes.
So I'm like, oh, they made it different. That's interesting. And then a couple hours later, I'm like, this is the animation intro.
Yes,
right.
Which was
like,
cool.
Okay. And then the Mando and presumably the other stuff have the other one. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I really liked that it showed all the helmets and stuff. Like I really like that. It showed, Chopper, and it showed Ezra's helmet. And Sabine's helmet. And I think they showed Rex's helmet too. And they showed
they showed Bucket from Resistance was on there.
Yes.
Chopper. Did you say Chopper already? I don't know.
Chopper.
Bo-Katan's there. Bo-Katan.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Oh. It was just it's nice to see
animated
that.
Grievous too. It was animated Grievous. I think I saw in there too. There's so many. It's just so good.
I was kind of not expecting that at all. Like it was super, super. I don't know. I will say this. That felt like a Mando episode in terms of like, man, here we are. We're in a situation. We're thrown right into it. And Tom Kane back doing the voiceover thing. Didn't expect that.
Man.
The Clone Wars logo burns out. It was great. It was so, so good.
Agreed. Do you think we're getting... What were we going to say? Wait, what are you going to say?
I just agreed. I'm like, agreed.
Yeah. Do we think that that's the opening, or is that just... This is our transition from Clone Wars.
Transition. Because it's like I think so too. Siege of Mandalore arc, we had the Lucasfilm Limited and then and then they only did that the one time. So I think it's gonna be the same thing here.
Which I am a sucker for continuity and stuff, and I love like everything being like so like but I've already been messed up on it because all the intros to all the movies now are all over the place. So it doesn't even matter anymore. It doesn't matter anymore. I honestly, I love it.
Well, if you think of this as one 16 episode movie, then we'll
yes, absolutely.
And man,
I can't wait till tomorrow.
I think exactly. Because that first
it's tomorrow.
Yes, it felt like an arc. It already felt like an arc, which was awesome, So like you already got a big chunk of the story out of the way. I mean, my first initial reaction was, man, that was the best to me, the best opening for an animated series ever. It was perfect for Star Wars. We already knew the characters too, Mm-hmm. It was nice to be able to come in knowing each dynamic, knowing kind of how they play together and what each personality is like. But you know what they didn't do? They didn't amp up the personalities they did in Clone Wars. Like Wrecker was very much Wrecker, but he wasn't like as intense as he was. I mean, like Clone Wars, it was so over the top, but I think they're trying to make it as subdued as possible. So whenever we actually get into the meat and everything of the season, we'll be able to kind of process it a little bit better and kind of get to know these characters on a personal level rather than like a really characterized level, if you know what I mean.
They can build them up a bit. Because if they start here, where are they going to go? But if they start here.
Yeah. So Arezou, what was your take on the whole thing? Because it didn't feel rushed. I think the pacing was almost perfect. I really do.
So I agree. It felt like one complete arc. I love that we have Order 66 out of the way and they've left Camino in the fallout so that now we can just move forward.
Yes.
And one thing I didn't realize until I think yesterday was that most of what we saw on Tuesday was the trailer. Like we've seen almost everything in the trailer except for Rex and Fennec. Otherwise, we've seen, so we have no idea what we're going to see now.
Which is great, which is what Mando did. That first episode of Mando, they did so much with it that whenever you finally got to sit down and watch a show, you're like, oh, didn't expect us to go here. So that's a really good point. I hadn't thought about that at all, actually. The marketing was pretty awesome for it so far.
Yeah, we genuinely got no idea where it's going now. So that's how I like my Star Wars. I don't like knowing where it's going. So.
Exactly, and I think that's how everyone should look at it. Jay, what about you, dude?
No, I mean, I'm just saying, I love, that's the reason why I loved TLJ when it was the first time it felt like we don't know where this is going, right? Like it felt new. It felt all that. And this, I absolutely love that feeling of I want the story. I want to experience the story. I don't want to look at it and judge and say, okay, well, I wouldn't have done this or I would have done that. First of all, I don't write stories, but I don't know. It really is like, it's hard to not say, Scotty, like you were saying, that this is like the best premiere they've had.
Yeah.
Yet. Like I was sitting, like my initial reaction, I'm sitting at 4 a.m. I got up to watch it before work to make sure I could get all 70 minutes in before I go to work. And because I want to be on my phone and get a spoiler or something. And I mean, it was a ride, but not like in a cheap way at all.
Not at all.
The story felt genuine, but it was 100% so. It was absolute. I don't know how do I even say this? It was so full of the DNA of Star Wars, right? Like it felt so
consistent.
Yes, consistent. Like, it felt so consistent with just and it just made this everything they've put out since like the movie, like they've gotten done with the sequel trilogy. It's been like everything counts now, or it's like Filoni and whoever is like saying, let's put this character in this thing.
Yeah.
And this is even more so. I mean, we can talk about cameos here in a little while, but like, I mean, just the beginning of it, starting out with Caleb Doom, Kanan, and stuff like that. But just, I don't know. And maybe we could talk about that right now if you want, I don't know. But just the absolute feat that they have pulled off with being able to put this stuff in and not make it feel forced.
It's an expectation thing. It is. You Lucasfilm, which I've been thankful for since Solo, was you need to be held accountable if you really want to take in the full story. You got to know when this takes place and what's going on. Order 66 is a great indicator of what's happening. But in Solo, you're watching Solo and you're like, some people just are oblivious. And then Maul shows up. You're like, that guy's dead.
Like, so many people are like, is this before Phantom Menace? Like,
that's the thing. So like you
only if Han Solo's like 60 years old when the first
exactly.
So
whenever what happened today, or I guess 2 days ago, when you watch Bad Batch and you got, Caleb Dune in it, then you got Saw Gerrera in it, and then you've got all Lama Su, and you've got all these Kaminoans that are making their little cameos, a little droid from the Fives arcs in it. Like, that is, as a fan of everything and reading and taking it as much as I can, that felt like a true Star Wars story. And it wasn't forced. You're right, Jerry. It felt felt very authentic to Star Wars.
I think we can like debate on some of the cameos that were in The Mandalorian season 2 and stuff,
of course.
Which I thought the majority of, if they worked for me, but I know I'm that guy who likes the special editions and shit like that, like people like, you want to say I'm easy to please, but there's like, the last couple of Star Wars shows, like these last couple of shows, especially this is just the first episode of Bad Batch. That's like a masterclass in how to include characters from include cameos from other characters.
I think
it's like
where
a
Bad
masterclass.
Batch has the advantage over Mando is, as much as I liked the cameos in Mando just fine, every single one of them felt like a backdoor pilot, to the point where when we get to Luke Skywalker, like, young Luke show, or we're getting, but like obviously not, that's not the case here, because Kanan doesn't need a backdoor pilot because we know where Kanan ends up, and Saw doesn't need a backdoor pilot because we know where Saw ends up.
That's
so because
good.
we've already seen their future, we can have them here and not have that speculation about whether we're going to follow them again. Like if they'd done a random Padawan, then we'd be like, well, what's his story? Like people who want a Broom Boy movie, but but by putting somebody we already know, whose ultimate fate we know, then we don't have to follow him. We can see Order 66 through his eyes and then just let him go.
And Arezou, as a writer too, I want to get your take on it. It seemed like the lines were not wasted in this show. For once, it feels like a lot of the animated series, at least, like they have lines that are kind of not wasted, but they don't feel like they mean anything. But like every time Hunter spoke, I was kind of on the edge of my seat. Like a lot of these characters really had some interesting dialogue, and they referred to old Star Wars things like, he's more man than machine now. That was awesome.
yeah.
I'm like, I was like, that's so easy for us to pick up on, and I'm sure other people would just, right over their head. But like, I don't know, like anytime the Kaminoans speak, I was like, that's going to be an interesting story to return to, but we can get to our speculations later. That intro killed it. The whole thing was great.
Yeah.
And Depa Balapa's death, I know it is not consistent with canon. And I know a lot of us are, obviously Jerry's a canon junkie, and I don't know if
shout out to Connor.
On that though.
Okay,
Connor's in the chat. Connor Depa Banana is here. So,
yes.
So we all due respect, sir. We love you. We love you and your Star Wars mother.
But Arezou,
go ahead, Arezou.
Here's my take. Just combining this scene and the Kanan comic, which admittedly I have not read yet. So,
same.
Kanan's comic, we see like the snatches of what happens, and we cut back to Kanan every single time. So you can make the case that his comic is from his point of view as he's remembering it 20 years later.
Yep.
So it's dark in the comic.
While
it's not dark
also,
here, but it's dark in the comic
because
Kanan doesn't know what's going on, right? He's blindsided. Right. It's at peace with Depa Balaba because they were supposed to win this, and then everything went wrong. So it's almost like his memory in retrospect is skewing what happened. You could make it work that way.
I like that. And he's had trauma as well, and I believe
he's processing it via trauma and not remembering it accurately. He's remembering it emotionally. And
isn't he an alcoholic as well? And isn't that like part of the canon too?
Yeah. In
New Dawn he is.
Dawn, yeah.
So
he kind of is like a Han Solo, just like hang out at the bar guy. Yeah. In that book. So
yeah, it was great hearing Freddie Prinze Jr. pretty much do like a weird suave teenage boy voice was interesting. And I work with teenage kids, so like none of them sound like that. I can tell you that much. He was very much like, look, man. And I was like, what is this?
But sometimes you will have that one teenage kid whose voice changes before the rest of them does.
I was going to say, like, look, and I used to do youth ministry and stuff in my younger days and stuff, and there were a couple of kids that I was like, you make me sound like freaking Mickey Mouse. Which, I mean, I already don't have, like, the most manly voice, whatever. Sure. But, no, I love that he threw a little bit of the Kanan, like, oh, yeah, like, his Freddie Prinze Jr., like, he's like, oh, you, like, when they're like, can you make sure you can keep up or something. He's like, oh, I'm pretty fast,
I like
or
this
whatever.
kid.
I like this kid. Oh, man. I was afraid I was going to be, not that I wasn't annoyed by Wrecker in the original arc, but I was like, oh, man, this feels very sticky in this, which I know what they're going for, right? They're going for like the 80s 18 feel.
And he's written for children. But it's evident. He's written for like little kids, at least to me.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like he still feels real in this universe. Mm-hmm. Like I can see him, and you could bring him into Mando, and I would be totally fine with it, right? Which now I'm thinking about a giant, just beard, like giant white beard, and like a little Tuca doll, just coming in like, "This is my Lula, Yeah. I'm Mando."
But look, that's to me where it seems like it's a character that a kid can identify with. It's like this guy who's really kind of reckless, but also has a good heart, and then he can't find a stuffed animal. And I'm like, what is this? This is incredible. Like this is something I just
sitting over there to make Lula's later. It's right over there.
Perfect. That's awesome.
See, that's great. But like this show's gonna do things like that where we get a lot of interesting character moments. And I saw something in the chat that made me really think about it. Who said it? Oh, there we go. Connor, he said, I'm excited for Wrecker and Hunter's arcs because Hunter in particular is the one I gravitated towards. And Jerry, I know you gravitated towards Omega. What about you, Arezou? Was there any character that kind of like called to you?
Wrecker just because I think he's funny. The one I'm most interested in though is Echo.
Wow. So they didn't get much screen time this episode. I was thinking about that.
But because he is still he's that odd man out because, when they're like, oh, only 5 of our bad batch survived and us go, yeah, okay, Echo. And then when the reveal comes that, no, it's not Echo, it's Omega. Then I'm like, okay, so Echo is now out of place with the other clones, which is why he's with the Bad Batch to begin with. He's also out of place with Bad Batch because they're enhanced and he's not.
He's a reg.
Half machine, half man now. So
yeah. It's like he's enhanced, but not in the way they were. Like it's very comic booky, where he's like, now I've got these special powers.
They're enhanced like to serve a function. He's enhanced to stay alive.
Yes. Well, and against his will too. Which I mean, I guess it's against all their will. Now that I think of it, so they didn't have any choice.
But that was they were made like that at birth. And still has memory of life before being like this.
Oh yeah,
that's interesting. That's a potential character that I didn't think about who's going to have a pretty awesome arc. I mean, you obviously watch the Clone Wars episodes and you see that it's about him getting retrieved. But I wonder if he's going to end up maybe controlling some droids with his abilities. I mean, there's a lot that can happen. I'm really looking forward to that this show is going to end up surprising us with. And one of the biggest ones to me personally was the return to Kamino. I knew it would show up. We saw it in the trailers, but the fact that the Kaminoans are being very how would you say
shady,
they're playing both sides. Yeah, they're kind of Palpatine and Palpatine, right? And when Tarkin shows up, and they're like, oh, let's make some more clones. He's like, no. I'm like, that's interesting. And I was on a chat recently actually with Skywalking through the League, and Bill was like, I wonder why. I think you would think Tarkin wants clones, but do you know the reason why he doesn't want clones? Did it click yet? Why wouldn't Tarkin want to pay for clones? It hit me when I was on that stream. I'm like, oh my God, that makes so much sense.
Because if you send your military to various planets and take their kids, you can keep them in line.
Yes. And another thing is he's funding the Death Star. That's why he's trying to cut budget. Literally, I'm like, this dude's the one that's going to head the Death Star program. So he's trying to
he wants the big ICBM.
Yes.
To keep people in line. But I mean, I like what Arezou said too. Like that's something too,
That's out of Lost Stars, is him going to Thane and Sienna's planet and being like, hey guys, want to see the inside of this spaceship? And then he's like, by the way, enlist when you're old enough. And then, so that's where my head went. But yeah.
Thank you, Gilster, by the way. Thank you very much, sir. And yes, we know. I don't know if you were here when we talked about it earlier, but it did. But I think it still works, from that certain point of view kind of a thing,
Yeah, to me, a retcon is when they change it entirely, but this was not a change entirely.
Still the same outcome. Right?
Every beat was the same. It's just it's just not completely different. It'd be one thing if they were like, Ewoks are actually smaller Wookiees. You'd be like, that's a retcon. Ewoks are different things. So it takes a lot to retcon something to me. And I don't know. Just to kind of get back to the Kaminoan thing, I was not expecting to be as excited about that as I am. Like that's an arc that is gonna definitely come back in, because what was Omega's pretty much her not her master but her teacher? What was
it was Lamasse, right? Namaste?
Something like that.
Namasu. Lamasse. It's like I'm like they're all like
the Michael Jackson song.
Namaste. Yeah.
So
probably.
Regardless, I can look it up in a second. Okay, so
Namaste. Thank you. Yes, thank you, everybody.
The fact that they let them, she let them go, was really cool. I was like, that was an interesting.
I didn't see that coming.
I think she's attached to Omega. I think that's what it
is. Yes. Mm-hmm. And Pete and I were talking about it actually.
Aren't we all?
And he pointed out the fact that they had the same headpiece as well, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if that's technology or if that's just some sort of.
I think it's just because she said she's her medical assistant, right? And stuff. Sure. So it's just kind of like. I wonder if it's just kind of like that's just what the medical officers or whatever wear in that culture, right?
Yeah,
they're kind of like I don't know, but it was very much just the same as Lamasse's, for sure.
Yeah, I would definitely agree, and I don't know, I liked the way Kamino was laid out. I like the design of everything. Their ship is pretty cool too, by the way. I'm sure we saw it in Clone Wars, but seeing it now is pretty awesome.
We did. It was in Clone Wars, but we didn't spend that much time with it.
No, and it's obviously going to be Razor Crest level material at some point. I just can foresee it now. It's going to be everywhere.
The Lego
there's already a Lego set, right?
Yeah, there is a Lego that dropped today.
Did it come out today or just announced today?
Now officially announced.
Announced.
It had been leaked before, I think. But like, I don't know. I think in terms of characters, when they gotten on that little room and you can kind of see how everyone's thinking about this stuff, that was really cool. And they had the moment where they're actually fighting those droids in real time, you know, with actual lasers, not the stun lasers. That was incredible. Like,
oh man,
at least to me, when who was it? Hunter threw the knife, and then
no, Wrecker threw the knife and Crosshair shot it.
And
then it hit the droids.
That was, I mean, that was like, I'm like, I don't know how that really works, but it was cool as hell. It was so awesome.
It works in the same way that they have Space Wizards.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't really think about it then, but I was like, I mean, my thought was like, that it's probably not physically possible, but I don't care. This is Star Wars. That's amazing. Like, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. Yeah, they use a lot of knives, but I love that stuff. I don't know. It's that whole sequence. I know everyone was talking about what's the suplex thing they were the German suplex or whatever. Or like the wrestling move that Wrecker uses on that one droid. Like he picks it up and drops it
backwards.
I don't know. I don't know. I think Michael's in here, isn't he? Michael talked about it. He was the first one I saw bring it up.
Did he? Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I saw that in the trailer, but I know everyone was like, oh man, he used this cool move, like wrestling move. So
that doesn't surprise me. And
I mean, it fits with his characters. If it was a cool move too.
Yeah. And to me, overall, the action sequences felt perfect. Like they couldn't be much better for animation. You can tell that they've put a lot more work into it. Like I had a student tell me, like, yeah, I watched the Clone Wars movie, then I watched Bad Batch, and I'm like, let's talk the differences. And you know, the differences are insane. Is that what you did, Arezou?
No, but like I just going from one to the other, like.
Oh yeah, he just did it for fun, and he was like it's like the animation is just so insane, and I'm like that's how it should be. You know, it has all progressed so well, and the dependency on animation now is so high, and the stories that we're getting are going to be pretty profound in the next couple of years, I'd imagine, just through animation alone. I'm very interested to see where Tarkin goes with this, and it was nice to see Steven Stanton back as Tarkin as well. That was pretty cool. Is there any?
I love that because I didn't quite put this together until they were in there. But Echo was a part of the team, and Echo, like when he, like the whole, I mean, and they said it in the show that when he blew up and like was presumed dead was when they were rescuing Tarkin. So just to have him a part of the group and how he noticed. Remember, there's that moment during the food fight, which I was just watching right before we started. There's the moment in the food fight where, like, before he gets knocked cold, he looks up and sees him. It's like, oh shit, that guy's here. You know?
Yeah.
Because he remembers he doesn't like. Well, he's saying he doesn't really care for clones, which is another reason in canon that we have is like he's kind of like, I don't really think that these guys are necessary. Yeah. You know. But anyway, I don't know. I loved that inclusion of you didn't even think about him being a part of this. And then Tarkin coming in and just all these things. I don't know. They're really hitting the connections really, really well.
Like we said earlier, does it feel like a cameo? It doesn't. It feels like part of the story.
No, I feel like Tarkin's going to be reoccurring.
Exactly.
And we're never going to see Kanan again. We may or may not see Saw again, but we're definitely going to see Tarkin again.
Oh, 100%. You're right. And I think it's time to bring up Omega. I know Jerry has very strong feelings. Before we get to Jerry, Arezou, you're taking Omega because to me, Omega didn't fall flat. I'm just not there yet, like some people are, and I understand. But Arezou, Omega, let's hear it because I like your perspective on most things, and I think I like.
She's a cutie. I'm excited to see where.
Hell yeah! Sorry,
like where she goes. I love her little imitations of Hunter, like trying to emulate him, and so I'm really here for that. And it's it's Star Wars, so we have gruff man reluctantly adopts child, and will grow to love child.
Yes,
that's going to happen by the end of the season. So I feel like I'm like with you, Scott. Like I like Omega. I'm not
sold
there yet.
Yeah,
but I'm willing to love.
Well, we're seeing a flip side too, and I think it's very important to address the flip side. Star Wars, unfortunately, in terms of how the story has been told, literally, if you go back, besides Anakin and Ahsoka, we've mostly seen father, son, father, son, father, son, father, son. Like literally, I mean, everyone. The only difference is Galen and Jin. But
even
that
Anakin
was just
and Ahsoka was like a brother-sister relationship. It
See,
wasn't even a
exactly.
father-daughter relationship.
Right.
So what we're getting now is something I think is super important. And Jerry, I think that's why you cling to it so much and you love it, is the fact that we're actually getting father-daughter, but like, you know, not by blood, but by choice. And we got the found family thing, always been Star Wars, but they just went full on with that already. That was not even part of the problem. It's just, to me, the fact that we've got a young girl character, especially someone like Omega, who looks up to these characters, is so awesome. So if you have anything to say, Arezou, I think Jerry's going to talk for 50 minutes right now. So I'm
Jerry,
just warning you.
talk for 15 minutes because I really want to hear this now.
May I sing the praises of the sweet angel that is Omega? Oh, my Lord. You really hit it. And that is why it really, I think, hits home for me, Scotty. Because, I mean, again, I'm a girl dad. I've got my little, you know, the love of my life, my little Ellie, right? You know, she's a little rambunctious blonde kid. I mean, come on, you know, she doesn't have a Kiwi accent, not yet. I think I'm just gonna start talking in a Kiwi accent so she picks it up. No, well, it's the father-daughter, which again, I think actually, I'm really starting to connect with Hunter, and it's just because of that like camaraderie of he's kind of becoming a father figure to her again, reluctantly. I love the way that he has those paternal instincts. Like you can see them kicking in, and he's like, "We've got to go back for her," and stuff. Right,
which is awesome.
Oh man,
you told me on the phone, Jerry. Oh, I think you're about to get into it because you said before they left somewhere.
Well, okay, so there's what first endeared me to her so much was just the way that she is portrayed. I'm trying to remember the name of the actress. Reagan, I know you know it in the chat. Shout it out. I want to do it justice, but I can't remember her name right now. I think she is Kiwi as well, right? Like she is.
I don't know her
okay.
name, but she is.
So that's her like natural accent too. But I just the beginning when she's like right behind them and stuff, it's just like, "Hi, I'm Omega," you know, and just like talking, which I love Taika Waititi stuff, and I won't get into that, you know, just because it's not the same. But just the way that she was like, "I know who you are. I look up to you. You guys are really cool." She feels like she doesn't fit in. She's so. I love when she comes to sit by them. One of my favorite parts when she comes to sit by them in the mess hall. Yeah, and she's like, "Remember Omega from the corridor?" Like she's like, the way she's saying stuff is so natural. It's so like a kid who's just very like. Just, I mean, like not rambunctious, but just like, you know, this kid is like, I really connect with you guys, and I want to be with you because I don't feel like I connect with anyone else here. She's looking for that family kind of a feel, right? Obviously, Lama Say feels, I guess, a little okay with her, but just like the way that she like she starts the food fight. The way that she won't let that guy just said something mean. She freaking throws a space burrito or whatever she threw at him and is like, "I threw it. You better apologize to my friends." Like, I'm like, so she's not, I don't know. There's just something about her where I'm so excited for characters like her to exist for my daughter.
Yes,
for one
I
thing.
Agree.
I mean, and for me, I mean, for me as well, like the character is just so, like, she's so innocent, but not helpless. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? She's helpless in that children, need people to help care for them, but she's not like helpless in that she's like a damsel in distress. Like she steps in and like, well, she's brave. She's got
the
like
crosshair
courage.
thing at the end. The crosshair thing in the end is the part that sold me on her character. Now, I see something. I want to hear your take on this, Jerry. Not that I necessarily agree with it, but what do you think? Pete says Star Wars needs a wicked twist like that. Omega turns on them. Do you think Omega would be the one to turn on him?
Get out of here, Pete. She's a precious angel. She's a precious angel.
Now, I wouldn't negate it would be interesting. Now, do I realistically think that's what would happen? I don't know.
She might be forced to turn on them.
Sure. And it'll be,
like
you're
for
right,
their
Arezou.
safety. I just don't think she'd want to turn on them.
I love that. Maybe she was sent with them. Maybe that would be great. I think maybe she was sent to spy on them, or is doing a really good job at acting, or maybe she really means.
The thing about Omega, like her throwing the food in the mess hall and then being like, "Yeah, I threw it," because she knows living here, being Nalase's assistant, they can't do anything to her.
No, they can't.
They can't.
She's a kid.
They can't tell on her. First of all, she's a kid. Second of all, she is medical assistant. So she's got that kind of safety net. She's out in the world with these guys now. She doesn't have that safety net.
Yes.
But I don't think because she's a kid and it takes her a second, it's not going to click for her right away that she can't just get away with everything now. So that's what I think I think that's going to cause some conflict for her.
Because she has the Palpatine bob doesn't mean she's a Palpatine. I'm just saying. Hairstyle does not negate.
No more Palpatine.
I love that. Oh, it's my favorite BTB argument.
No. This is she is an altered clone in that the chromosomes got mixed up or something. She's female, and then and maybe they intentionally meant for her to be female, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. But that's like she's obviously basically female Jango, essentially, right? Like but I don't know. There's just I'll tell you the part that really
impossible to alter the chromosomes. They
no
look what they did to the Bad Batch.
Yes,
that's harder.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's space science and stuff. Like we could do whatever we want to, you know. Like
they're making millions of clones that all happen to look exactly the same when that's not how cloning works. So
yeah,
fine.
I think it's important to bring this up too, because you're watching this show, and of course, Bad Batch and you can look at Rebels and Clone Wars and everything, the title of everything, Mandalorian in particular, anything that Dave has his hands in, the title never really means what the show is, technically, if you think about it, right? Clone Wars was not about the Clone Wars, it was about the clones themselves. Rebels was not about being rebellion, it's about being a family, there's a lot of themes like that. And in terms of this show, will we get a Force user? Will it be Omega? I don't know. Will we get a Force user? I think yes. Will it be a part of the Bad Batch? I'm in the belief that Hunter is going to be a Force user, but not. But after watching this episode, I wanted to get to this. Omega was doing some pretty interesting stuff with her intuition, and I'm like that's like Luke's intuition on a lot of stuff. So maybe it's there too. Maybe she's a Force clone or one of the first of its kind. I don't know. What do y'all feel about that? It would be an interesting thread. Here we go.
What if Omega is Force sensitive, and this is what Moff Gideon's trying to do?
Exactly. Trying to take the blood from Jedi. I mean,
the only one. She's like the Hulk. She's not the Hulk. She's the Captain America, and that's the only one the super serum worked on. And now they're trying to do that again, and it's not working. And you get the Hulk. So maybe that's what's happening.
That's good.
Really good. Yeah, they're getting a bunch of John Walkers. They don't want that. No one wants that.
Thinking about the theories of this show as well, you got so many story threads that they're slowly weaving, and I know the next episode I'd imagine takes place on a different planet or completely away from the whole Kaminoan situation, but they could always return to it. I think this show is going to give us something we didn't expect, and it's going to give us an answer to why there are no clones in A New Hope, which is only 19 years after the event, because the clones only live twice their age. So any clone that's 11 by normal years is 22. So
the clones would have been like 75 or 80 by A New Hope. Like,
see, that's retired. The thing. Yes, but I seem to believe
there's like something in canon, right, where they like after like a few years after they say like, okay, clones, you're decommissioned, you're good.
But wait,
Lords of the Sith.
Right. Yes. Okay, I was trying to think what that was.
That could canonically be an answer, but maybe it's just the phrasing of that, because they maybe don't get decommissioned. Maybe they hire enough stormtroopers to go in there and kill all the clones, and there's a clone versus stormtrooper battle that this show might end up, showing. I think the EU did that, right, Arezou? Or
the Legends EU? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, what do you want to add? Because I could see that you wanted to say something.
Just that they are still, by the time Lords of the Sith happens, which year-wise, I'm not sure when that is.
Okay.
They
like
are still, like they're still in service. to the Empire. Like Vader has an old clone serving with him, and it makes him think of like Rex. And then I cried. But so they are still working for the Empire. So if they're going to do that, then they're going to do that way at the end, like years after the fact.
Sure,
just because there are still clones around. That's it.
I just think it was so interesting how they did the Kaminoan stuff. Like I really was like, this is leading somewhere that no one's going to expect. They were straight up like, especially when Tarkin left and they were all talking about it. I was like, this is going to be something way bigger than we all expected. Like, I really do think it's going to be a very big arc towards the end of the series if it's more than one season.
I like that Kamino's playing a bigger part. Part of me feels like they're almost setting up more Kamino, like just canonically, because we haven't spent a lot of time here. Like, it was just a little bit in Attack of the Clones. Yeah. And then, my boy Dr. Pershing with his Kamino jacket. But is there a baby Dr. Pershing? Is he Omega's friend? I don't know. So also, like them setting this up more, I'm like, are we going to see this in other series now? Well, that we're talking about Kamino. So
my brain went to that too, Arthur. Well, like, think the Kaminoans might get killed out by the Empire somehow. Then they hire Imperial scientists like Dr. Pershing to come and fill that spot.
That's my theory.
That's what you wanted to say?
Yeah. Yeah. The theory that, like, okay, so remember we had the phone conversation the other day where, like, I basically vomited all my thoughts onto Scotty. It was just, I was like, I've got all these things have been running through my head all day. I got to talk to someone about it. But okay, so I think we might end up having a situation where the Kaminoans aren't necessarily good guys. They're on their own side. They're trying to do their own thing. They're getting the short end of the stick. I think we probably will see them trying to overthrow, or at least get the Empire out of there, have their own, area. And then again, the Emperor orders, just wipe them all out. We're going to put our own people in there, which is how Dr. Pershing gets there, which is a sweet, sweet baby. He's not.
I also demand baby Dr. Pershing.
Yes. Well, baby, what if like some guy gets there? He's like, I'm Dr. Pershing, and this is my son, Dr. Pershing.
If we have Dr. Pershing Sr. and then his little son with the big glasses, I'm going to lose it.
That's gonna be really
little Dr. Pershing.
I'm gonna be a doctor one day, and then
Mando babies.
I'm gonna lose it.
But my theory is so then we have all this, and this is where Palpatine starts. And I know no more Palpatines, but here's what I'm saying: we might get a little bit of here's when he starts making his like, I'm gonna make clone bodies plans and things like that. He's like, let's take some of this stuff and let's go do some weird shit in the unknown regions. Let's go do some weird shit. Yeah. Like he's like ripping a bong with Snoke and stuff, like what if we put you in a pickle jar? All right. Giant pickle jar.
We'll put like 3 of you in a pickle jar.
Yeah. What do you say? Like upside, all different, go in different directions too. You good? You good? Cool. So it's all madness. It's all
no. The thread of the story though got really cool because they left, Kamino to run into Saw Gerrera, and like we said with cameos earlier, that didn't feel very forced. That felt pretty good. That felt like it made sense with what happened. Deliberate. Yes, it was very much deliberate. You're right, and Fallen Order ends up doing that really well too. Later when they run into Saw Gerrera in that game too, it's just he's starting the rebellion, and they went to Onderon, right? Yeah, they went to Onderon, And is that the one from the Clone Wars arc? I don't remember.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I was talking to Shannon about this, and she was saying that of all the coincidences that they run into Saw Gerrera, I'm like, but Tarkin sent them there specifically for Saw Gerrera. Like
that's true.
In Jedi Fallen Order, you just bump into Saw Gerrera, but they went specifically because Tarkin wants Saw taken out. So so it works better in this case only because they're consciously looking for this guy who is going to be a rabble rouser, like way down the line. So,
yes.
So I think that's why it works here.
How fantastic! I'm sorry. How fantastic did the voice actor do? Which I mean, it's the voice actor from the Clone Wars, but he put a little bit of that like Forrest Whitaker in there.
Yes, he did.
Like it was a great bridge between, and I was like, "That's good. Good on you, man." It didn't feel like an impersonation. It just felt like the natural progression to me. Maybe a little
100%.
maybe a little bit of impersonation, but it was good. It was good.
That's a hard job to do if you had to find the perfect medium between everything.
Yeah.
And I
sorry, I still miss that one.
extreme. It is still extreme.
Did you come here to kill me?
It's just so over the top.
It's hard to get it like he gets it, which is like,
Yes.
okay, it is over the top, but it's like it's believable for him. Where we're like, kill me, you know, it's like it doesn't work when I do it.
I think it's really cool that this whole entire show and maybe even series, we just don't even know yet, has got so much, I guess, thematic depth into it already. We've got some things that, like the turning against someone, like we got that in Resistance, right? What was her name in Resistance? Where she, yeah, okay, so we're getting that this early on in the show. We've already got, you know, Crosshair kind of turning on the group, but by no means of his own. The inhibitor chip's obviously something that's taking over his brain. So then they maximize it, which was crazy. So he's going to be real insane. And I almost think the MacGuffin of the show at some point is going to get Crosshair to come back and be a part of the team again. But he's so far into this.
Living redemption, Star Wars.
I love that.
Let Crosshair come home.
For real, I want to make.
Hold on. Let's get the clap in. Should we stand up? Should we? Okay, go on, Scotty. Go on.
No. I think it's really important because you're right, Arezou. We're so used to redemptions and then people getting immediately killed. Ben Solo, Han Solo, not Han Solo, really. I mean, actually, yeah, I would say Han Solo a little bit too.
Han Solo a little bit. Darth Vader,
Great
for sure.
Luke. Great
My
Luke.
boy Ben Solo.
Yeah.
Luke.
Not Obi-Wan.
All of them.
Not Obi-Wan, not Qui-Gon, not Yoda.
Maul.
There's some that are there, some that aren't there, but you're 100% right. We're so used to them dying. Like complete character change and then just boop, gone. Nope. Kind of pointless. We got this over with. So like to have Crosshair come back and maybe just maybe the reason he turns could be because he wanted to, maybe he gets put an opportunity where he has to save Omega or something crazy and he just does it through his intuition. That could be the case.
Remember the moment that they have in the cell where she goes up like that. So her force power I saw, I think Mark's Forever Star Wars on Twitter say her force power is empathy. Like it truly is. But she goes over to him and she like puts a hand on his shoulder and says something like you shouldn't do what you're about to do.
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Yeah.
It's not your fault.
That was like, there's like something at the beginning where it's like you shouldn't I know what you're about to do, but I want you to know it's not your fault. And oh my gosh, like that is just like again, that's why I love her so much.
Wise beyond her years. Wise beyond her years.
Wise beyond years, but just also it's also just that like she's not jaded like most adults are. But it's like it's a true like that is a true statement, right? Like it's not like idealistic and you know, like she really hits a chord with him. It's like sometimes when kids say something, it's like it's so simple yet it's so wise beyond their years. Just like, oh wow, absolutely right. But yeah, I honestly I want to see that was like the most I said the whole Crosshair turn was not surprising not in a bad way. I was like, I'm not surprised, but I was bummed. I was sad for them.
Sure.
And stuff because it was like they were a crew. They're like a little family. And it's just like it isn't his fault. They really they overpowered his chip and stuff in him too. And so I think that really makes me think he's coming back too.
So I really think that the show will do a lot with that. We didn't see them kind of suffer with that yet. I think the next episode is going to show them like, I can't believe Crosshair is gone. Like I can't like what just happened. They just got on the ship in
their lives.
Exactly. And this is an amazing comment from Jackson over here. Let me see if we can get it pulled up real quick. He said, "I want those big Camino soup spoon chairs." I completely agree. And to see Tarkin like. He was like awkwardly sitting like this.
I was looking at it to see Tarkin to see Admiral Tarkin sitting in the soup ladle chairs was absolutely something I never knew I needed in my life.
Dude, literally, and Obi-Wan kind of sits really chill with it, whereas Tarkin's
Obi-Wan's he's vibing with that chair, but Tarkin's like, nope.
Yes, literally. Like Obi-Wan leans into
why I'm here.
And then for some reason, Tarkin's like, and Lama Sue's doing the same exact thing. It was so great. I wonder, did they get the original voice actor that played Ton Lee? Because that was Ton Lee, I think. I'm pretty sure that was Ton Lee.
Ton Wee?
Ton Wee, that's it. Yeah. Is it the same person?
I think that was Lama Su.
Well, Lama Su
is the guy. Ton Wee.
Yeah,
Lama Su is the. But I thought that was the medical examiner that came in. But it might be.
Yeah, but there was a third one too, if I'm not mistaken.
Was there?
I have to go watch it again. I'm pretty sure.
I'm feeling very xenophobic now because now I'm like, I don't think I could tell the long neck ones apart. I'm just kidding. I could tell that Lama Su has a mohawk. Different clothes. Yeah. Yeah. And he's a man.
Wait. This is really important because I saw this covered on a couple of people's content, but I think it's really important to bring it up. The clones were so cool in Clone Wars because they were all differentiated from each other. They all felt unique. But watch what happens when you watch this series. The only clones that stand out are the Bad Batch, which makes sense, obviously. But when you're watching, even in the background, like everyone looks the same. It's like the same exact character.
Well, I know all the haircuts were the same again. Yes, like back in the mess hall.
Yes.
To be fair, they're all still on Camino. They're not serving in the field.
True.
True. Like the 501st and the 332nd and all of them, they have had time to make themselves distinct. These guys haven't left yet. So that could be, I mean, part of it is probably a perspective thing because we're from the Bad Batch's perspective, and to them, they're the regs. They all look the same, but they haven't had a chance to like go, cut their hair or get a tattoo.
Get the tattoos and everything.
I mean, I think that's the actual
off the
canon
assembly
reason.
line, literally.
Yeah,
right. Like that's the canon reason for sure. But I think it was used in the story as like look at the cold uniformity of the Empire a little bit for sure. Which was a cool concept for them to use. But I think you're 100% right because it is like I didn't think about that. Like even you think about the Clone Cadets arc or the Clone Cadets episode where like Fives and Echo and all Heavy and all them, they all had that haircut too.
Yeah.
Like they were all the same. So
I get it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we have about 10 minutes left to hang out and chat. Does anyone want to kind of get in and talk about their theories for the show could go? I know we all, with this first episode, you don't get that much to go off of, but we kind of said some of ours already. But is there anyone that maybe you haven't heard before or maybe some takes that like might just interest you in general to see where they go with this show? Jerry, do you have anything that you want to add to that?
I mean, I kind of gave my theory a little bit ago, just like I think we're getting this season, like what happens, like what the Empire does to Camino. I think we get the Emperor's reckoning. On them. I think they are going to try to, obviously they're already trying to undermine them because, Lama Say just like let them go, which was incredible, completely unexpected.
Yes.
Because I've always just kind of seen them as, they're in on it or, they're a little shady. They're like, they're just out for their own interests is the thing. And so I think we're getting that. I don't know. I'm just excited to see, I don't know. They've become the A-team. They are now soldiers of fortune out there, probably for people who are innocent people in trouble to hire. But I think we're going to get more of like, instead of a villain of the week episode, I think we're going to get more of a cohesive story, which is about clones and how their use has, like, they've basically served their purpose for Emperor Palpatine. And so now he's like, I know we still have some, and it's going to slow, like, decommissioning. But I think this is just going to be about them wrestling with their humanity and honestly, all that with through the eyes of Omega as well. Like kind of I don't know. I'm excited for that father-daughter relationship. I can't wait to see more.
I don't blame you.
I'm so excited.
I mean, there's a lot of episodes we're going to get through. And Arezou and I were talking about at the beginning. before we recorded that we have. This is the craziest thing. It's the first time Star Wars has done this for us in terms of Disney Plus releases. We've got 15 more episodes all the way
It's a
the
lot.
summer.
I was surprised.
Till August 13th. That is a lot of content in a great way. And they might do some weird twist with it. They might end up doing like 2 episodes close to another. I mean, they'll do that every now and then.
The next episode could be a Space Whales episode if no one can for longer. You know, we could have Purgill. We could have Purgill coming in going like, you know, like we got to save this gas platform. You know, I'll take whatever you got.
See, this is pretty good. Blue Panther. Something will happen that makes Scotty gasp. That happened already with one of the episodes. I forgot what one of the sequences were. I was like, what? I freaked out. I'm just going to have to record myself. It seems like people like that.
I feel like I had a moment like that or whatever. I don't know. I think I was really mad at a Crosshair towards the end. I was like, you leave them alone. You leave them alone, man.
Not his fault, Jerry.
I know
it's not his fault. I know, and then I kept saying, "Look, it's not his fault. It's not his fault." But stop! Just let them go. Go with them, you bastard.
Arezou, where do you think we're going to go with this show? 16 episodes.
I'm curious about a couple things that I'd like to know how they play out. I want to know who they're going to visit, which friend of theirs they're going to find.
Yeah,
I suspect it's probably Rex, but
it could be someone different.
Well, it could be someone different. But in that case, then, where does Rex come in? And more importantly to me, when does Fennec Shand come in? When and how?
That's my brain went too.
Yeah.
Because that's an interesting person to market. Because they marketed the heck out of her for this show.
Like,
I noticed it looks like she is in like a city atmosphere.
Yes.
When they meet her. So do they go to surely
any Fennec content I can get is
100%.
It's what I want. So
yes.
How does she play into this? How does Rex play into this? And then who is the friend that they're going to find? These are my 3 questions going into tomorrow. Obviously, I don't think any of them other than the friend are going to be answered. But
yes.
Yeah, that's my.
That's great.
I don't think the friend is Rex tomorrow. Simply because we just had Order 66 and they said we have let's go to this one.
Ahsoka.
They don't know if because he's a red, right? They don't know he had his chip removed.
That's a good point.
So that's why I was like, why would they go to him if they don't know they can trust him yet?
Then who do you think?
I think maybe he contacts.
Do you think we know the friend? Do you think we know them?
That's what I was talking to Scotty about. I don't know.
They left it open to think that we will know the friend. And if we don't know the friend, I don't think anyone's going to be disappointed per se.
Maybe it's the Trandoshan from the thing they released just
today. They dropped something today, Ars. I don't know if you saw it, but it had like a Trandoshan like gangster in it. It was really cool. And
like a female Trandoshan going like,
is this like a short or like concept art?
It was just like it was like a little teaser with some of the stuff we'd already seen, but a couple of new things, which was them talking to like a Trandoshan sitting behind some kind of desk with like all these trophies around her and stuff. And she says something like, it's dangerous.
That's an interesting note to end on, though. To be like, we have a friend. If we have never met this friend before, we the audience, that's a weird note to leave on.
I think we're meant to think that it's Rex, for sure. Because we've seen him in the thing.
Has done something really interesting. And not to say that anyone's May the 4th predictions were going to be wrong, but with them dropping this show on May the 4th, I knew this would be the focus of the entire day was going to be that. And if you watched, I mean, literally, it was every hour on the hour. They are pushing this show. And the only way I knew this show worked in terms of like people being aware of it is someone that I would call a normie that I work with at my school. She's like, yeah, we're watching The Bad Batch tonight. I'm like, what? And I'm like, do you watch any of the animated stuff? She goes, no, it's my first time watching an animated show. So they're gonna ride this show, I really think, as much as they can. They're going to put as much as they can possible because this is the very first Disney Plus animated Star Wars show. And it's evident that they're going to do things probably differently with this show than what we expected with Rebels or even Clone Wars, because different formats, different demand. I mean, obviously the shows are going to vary in length. I mean, the next one's not 70 minutes, but the one we get tomorrow is 30. So keep it coming, Disney Plus. Keep it moving, because I love when the stories can be free to tell what they want, but I also like that. I almost like a complete story in every episode. Not that we're not going to get any arcs. I do like when a story is told within one moment, like Mando does. Mando does it really well.
I love this. I'm sorry. It's Buzz Lightyear. That's who they're going to see. Like how like, we finally have the crossover that everyone's been wanting.
That's everyone's been wanting. Oh man.
Wait. Okay. This one.
Lula.
That would be incredible.
Lula, my Lula.
Wait, now
she's like that. She ends up becoming like the what was it, the Bindu or whatever. It's like another Bindu, but it's like a giant loth cat named Lula. There you go.
Arezou, you're more perverse in the books than me. Is that the correct word? Perverse? No, that sounds bad. I have to look at it.
You sound like you're calling her perverse.
You're
versed.
Yes. Sorry.
No, I took me a second. I'm like, I don't know.
Arezou, you're so perverse. No.
Well,
so
okay.
that statement right there. Are they alive at this point? Because I don't know.
Quinlan is. Asajj isn't.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing about Star Wars is no one is ever really gone.
What was the 3 rules of Star Wars? The 4 rules of Star Wars?
The 3 rules of Star Wars. Beloved characters never die is the first one. So here's the thing about Asajj's
that was
death.
so great.
She dies, and then Quinlan takes her back to Dathomir and like sinks her in this Night Sister significant.
It was
lake.
like the baptismal pool.
Yeah,
right?
it was like a.
Yeah.
It was like something to do with their magic. It was like the source of their magic. It's been a while since I read Dark Disciple, but he basically puts her in this lake, and that's his way of grieving her, of burying her. But like, she could come back.
Totally.
Come back.
Maybe.
Ventress lives. No, Arezou, I think it'd be cool to see that as well showing up in here with Asajj Ventress. I mean, that's a character that, and I will say this too, it's interesting. Someone pointed this out on Twitter, that why has she been a part of a lot of the marketing too for May the 4th? Like she's been on every poster for May the 4th. And I'm like, and I talked about this with David before. Thrawn was all over Galaxy's Edge, right? And of course, Thrawn's been in Rebels. Thrawn's going to be in Mando, but like, they're building up Thrawn to be something bigger. Maybe the same can be said for Asajj Ventress. Maybe.
Because the thing is, most people, if they do know Asajj, they know her from the show, and as far as they're concerned, Asajj is still alive. So all they need is like a little half explanation for the people who've read the book.
Yep.
And then you're fine. Because the people who care enough to go deep into Dark Disciple are like, sure, why not? And the people who saw the show, doesn't make a difference to them. So
true.
It's not hard to bring Asajj back.
Well, and I mean, as much as I love Dark Disciple, again, we saw today, like we saw with this episode, they're more than willing to retell stories in a different medium.
But this is just changing the details. Like, they would be bringing Asajj back from the dead.
Right.
That's a bigger. Obviously, I would like Star Wars to visit the idea of bringing characters back from the dead for a variety of reasons, but I don't think it's impossible.
Save Ben Solo.
Hashtag save Ben Solo. But it's not impossible. She's literally in a magical lake with her entire body intact. So like, just come out of the lake.
Take us there.
It's like the Lady in the Lake. She comes out like the Lady in the Lake and just like has like, I don't know, crazy force powers or something now. Like she can pull Star Destroyers out of the sky, like Star Trek.
Oh my God. And this could be the show.
I would love no matter what they do with her. This
could be the show that maybe even brings in the Inquisitorius. Like that, this show could do that too. So the potential for this show down the road is pretty insane. Like just in terms of where we're playing in the timeline. And I don't think people have really registered that yet, but we're seeing a change of power in terms of something they've never seen before in Star Wars. And of course, small rebellions will show up, things like that. Obviously it's going to happen, but we've got a really cool timeline to mess with in character. Thrawn could show up in this. He could be an a lower commander, but he could still somehow be involved.
Thrawn's not around yet.
Not yet, but down the line.
He's still in the ascendancy right now.
Oh, okay. But how many years was it after? Because I thought clones found him. Clones found him on that planet stranded.
No, it was stormtroopers. Yeah.
Pretty sure it was
I was looking. You need to go back and watch Alex Damon's Star Wars video.
The earlier canon Thrawn series happens almost simultaneously with Rebels.
Okay.
And like, granted, it takes him a few years to get up there, but it's not 20 years worth of time. It's like
around
5
Solo,
or 10.
right?
So it's around the time of Solo. But as of right now, because he bumps into Anakin Skywalker during the Clone Wars,
okay,
he's still in the Ascendancy and he hasn't left yet. That's a bit of an ongoing conflict. So he's still at this point in time in the Ascendancy.
You could have the Bad Batch going to the unknown regions to hide out for a bit, maybe, and run into him, right?
The chaos of the Bad Batch ending up in the middle of all the chiss while they've got their own thing going on.
Can you imagine?
Absolute chaos.
That would be incredible. Look, I did
that
find an
sounds
image
Bad Batch. That sounds Bad Batch as hell.
that I just don't understand this image. Then is that it's clones with AT-ATs?
Are they?
Yeah, it's phase 1 though. Like, this makes no sense to me.
Just because it's cover art.
But it was for
just feel like they thought it looked cool.
Yeah, I agree. No, I do agree with that. It's pretty sick. Oh man, I don't.
Yeah, phase 1 troopers don't make sense.
Yeah, so
I demand the correct stormtrooper.
I wonder.
There are timelines in here.
Okay, if you can find a time, I'm just curious because I would love a Thrawn showing up. I would
watch Alex's May the 4th.
Okay, Solo happens
video
first, then Thrawn happens, and
Say it
Solo
again?
is like it's Solo, then it's Thrawn.
Okay.
Oh wow.
Solo.
But then we got an image like this. Hold on. I'm not trying to negate anything anyone's saying.
No,
it's just interesting.
Figure it out.
This is every Star Wars fans. It's like, well, what's this then?
So now we've got a phase 3 talking to Thrawn.
You know what it could be? Because they're out on the edge of space Tarkin. Sort of thing, that they're just using whatever armor they can get.
That could be true. That's not bad.
This is the leftover armor with the guys who flunked out of the academy, and they're out here on the edge with the less cushy assignment. And that's why their armor is kind of all over the place.
That's what Han's wearing on Minban is a mud jumper armor from the Clone Wars. He's wearing mud jumper armor. So, I mean, it's just
you've got all this plastoid armor that's in perfectly good condition with guys who aged out of it at at twice the rate you thought they would. So just stick it on somebody else.
Yeah, the Emperor knows how to pinch pennies. He's good.
Yeah, they got to save up for that Death Star.
Yeah, you got to save up for those billions of clones too. So it's good that he keeps burning out of.
Look, see, there you go. Arezou nailed it. Now, Arezou, I'm so glad you can come on there. I really appreciate you.
Arezou, brought the level of our show up like so many notches for sure. You don't have to come in tight. It does keep going up, but yeah.
Now, look, this is what we're gonna do, Arezou. I'm gonna hit you up in August about this again. Okay. Whenever we wrap Bad Batch, because how we're gonna do it, it's gonna be a little bit different. Every time an arc ends, we're gonna do a show like this, bring a guest on, hang out with them. But Arezou, you have my word. When this series is over, you coming on that last episode, we're going to recap the whole thing.
We'll do the round table, man.
For 7 hours. No, I'm just kidding.
We're going to dissect the whole enchilada. There you go.
Arezou, I want to say one thing to you as well. I think it's important to address. Arezou was a part of this network for about 7 or 8 months, I'm pretty sure. And now Arezou moved on to greater and better things for herself. She is doing her own stuff. Arezou, we got to have you plug it. Arezou, Geeky Waffle, come on, fill us in.
So, I am full-time with the Geeky Waffle. So
cool.
We have 3 shows. We have our flagship Geeky Waffle show. Yes. We have our Disney sequel focus series, Straight Out of Home Video. And then the one I host every other Monday, which is Space Waffles. So that is, as the title might suggest, space focused, specifically Star Wars focused. So it's technically every other Monday, but for the month of May, because it's Star Wars month, we have a new episode every Monday. So yeah, and then we also have our Bad Batch live streams, which we have our first tomorrow, and then not the week after, but the week after that. So every other Saturday, we're going to have Bad Bitches on the Bad Batch. So it's our, if you follow us, you know we do like the post-show live streams. We had like Mando Night Live and all the Marvel stuff, and now it's
also good.
Bad Batch. So that's what we're doing over at the Geeky Waffle.
You may see Jerry and I show up on that because we're some bad bitches up in here. We'll see.
Sizzle, sizzle.
See. I love it, Arezou, and you know it's nothing's better than kind of starting somewhere and then doing your own thing entirely. And I'm so happy that you found an opportunity to make sure you have your own voice in your own show, because that's what this is about. You know, people were like, you know, I can't believe Pete left the network, blah, blah, I can't believe like, it's great. I'm glad they went to find something they want to do. It's great. It's not something
you've ultimately got to do what you want to do, like what fulfills you.
Yes.
So. And hey, clearly it's all still good. Clearly we are all still tight.
That's the thing.
We don't hate each other.
No.
No drama.
Never was drama. So for anyone watching, Arezou's part of the family now. She's actually a Bombad member. She is part of the one and only club.
Officially one of the. We haven't said that in so long.
It has been a while.
I think we've had like a guest in a while, but yes, welcome to the one and only club. And we didn't say it. The one and only Arezou Amin. There you go.
You know what? I think Rick has something to say.
This is fucking awesome.
I like that.
Arezou, if you don't mind.
It's so good.
You already plugged your stuff. You're good. We're good
and then my Twitter's right there.
Go check it out. What are you guys waiting on? Go check it out right now.
Full on right there. Arezou Amin. Yeah. Arezou, pleasure having you. Arezou, we end the show with a catchphrase. I know you know the catchphrase. The catchphrase is Stay Bombad. Can we please get a Stay Bombad for me before we go?
Okay. Stay Bombad. Stay Bombad.
Yeah.
All right, man. Stay Bombad. Peace.
All Bombad.